the gilded cage in the village of Igbegba, nestled between the green hills of the river valley, life moved at a slower pace. The days were long, filled with the sweet, earthy smells of cassava, boiling and open-air kitchens, the sounds of children playing barefoot in the dirt roads, and the persistent rhythm of farmers plowing the fields. Igbegba was a place where the village was family, and the pace of life was determined by the sun and the harvest seasons. But even here, there were dreams that stretched far beyond the horizon. Among the villagers, there was Chidinma, a young woman whose beauty was renowned, though it was her fashion sense that captured everyone's attention. Even at a young age, she was captivated by the dazzling world of fashion that existed beyond the quiet borders of her village. Every new trend in the city made its way to her through friends, relatives, or even the sporadic visits from market traders. She would sit for hours flipping through fashion magazines or scrolling through photos on her phone, dreaming of the life she could have if only she could adorn herself with the finest clothes. Chidinma wasn't just a lover of fashion, she was consumed by it. When new clothes arrived, she would often ignore the call of her family. Mama, I need this new outfit, she would say, her voice pleading. Everyone is wearing it in Lagos. I can't be left behind. Her mother, Mama Nosy, would often sigh, shaking her head, but eventually she would give in. If you must, then go ahead, Mama would mutter. Papa Chijoke, a farmer, was a quiet man, content with the simple things in life. He would merely raise his brow and say nothing, his only request being that she not forget the value of humility. But Chidinma's dream of glamour weren't without a cost. Her relentless pursuit of the newest fashions drained the family's savings. Her father's frustration grew. Do you not see how hard I work? Our family lives on the land, not the clothes you wear, Papa Chijoke would argue. Yet Chidinma's obsession continued to grow. The more attention she received for her new clothes, the more she craved it. It wasn't just the admiration from friends and strangers, it was a validation of her existence. I look perfect, she often told herself. I am the best. But there was one more thing that made Chidinma stand out. Food. In her village, people ate simply cassava, yam, vegetables, beans, and the occasional goat meat. But Chidinma's appetite was legendary. She loved the sweet and savory taste of fried yam with spicy pepper sauce, grilled fish, and the roasted plantains she often found at street corners. However, her greatest indulgence was suya, spicy grilled beef served with onions, tomatoes, and a sprinkle of chili. She would spend every last naira she could gather on her favorite snacks. Her friends often teased her about it. Chidinma, where's your food? They would laugh, but it was never a joke. She always had something in her hands, be it roasted groundnuts or a packet of biscuits. Even when her friends joked about how much she ate, Chidinma would simply laugh. I can't disappoint you now, she'd say, reaching into her bag for more treats. What would you do without me? Her mother, ever concerned, would often warn her about her health. Chidinma, do you know what all this junk is doing to your body? I worry about you, she would say, her eyes filled with concern. But her daughter would only wave her off with a mischievous grin. Mama, relax. I'm fine. Look at me. I'm perfect, and life's too short not to enjoy the good things. Mama Ngozi, knowing how stubborn her daughter was, would give up after a while. She loved Chidinma dearly, but found it hard to teach her moderation. It was hard, too, to question what had been ingrained in their family. Chidinma was their only child. and they had waited for years to have her. They cherished her, sometimes to their detriment. One hot afternoon, as the village gathered for the harvest festival, Chidinma stood at the edge of the crowd, sipping on a cold drink. She watched as the women danced and the men played the drums, the rhythm of the music blending with the laughter that filled the air. Chidinma, dressed in her finest outfit, felt a sense of contentment. But then her eyes fell on someone, Adaeze, a woman who had been away in Lagos for several years, had come back to the village. Adaeze was dressed in a gown so elegant, so intricately designed that it made Chidinma's heart skip a beat. Who is that? She whispered to Amara, her childhood friend. That's Adaeze. She left the village years ago to work in Lagos. She's a big businesswoman now, Amara replied, her eyes wide in admiration. Did she really make all that money? Chidinma asked. Her curiosity piqued. Everyone says she's rich. That gown she's wearing, it's custom made. She got it from a tailor in the city. It cost a fortune, Amara said, her voice filled with awe. Chidinma, her eyes locked on the shimmering fabric, felt a deep yearning. I want that. I need something like that for myself. Without thinking, she approached Adaeze. Excuse me, you look beautiful in that dress, Chidinma said, her voice soft with awe. Adaeze turned, a warm smile spreading across her face. Thank you, dear. It's one of my favorites. A gift from my tailor in Lagos. How much did it cost? Chidinma asked, her curiosity now bordering on desperation. Desi raised an eyebrow. Oh, about 250,000 naira, she said almost nonchalantly. Chidinma gasped. That was more than her entire family earned in a month. But Adaeze continued. But quality, my dear, comes at a price. If you want to be noticed, you must be willing to invest in yourself. Chidinma's heart raced. She had to have it. She couldn't imagine her life without it. The very next day, she began to save. She cut back on food, gave up her snacks, and took on even more odd jobs. Her friends couldn't understand. Chidinma, what are you doing? You never skip meals, Amara would say. But Chidinma was relentless. She began to feel a growing sense of power. The idea of wearing something so luxurious, something so exclusive, filled her with excitement. Once I get that dress, she thought, I will be someone. Several weeks later, Chidinma had saved enough money. She went to the tailor in the town over, where she handed over the material she'd saved up for the dress. The tailor measured her carefully, and Chidinma smiled at the thought of how perfect it would look. When the dress was finally ready, Chidinma couldn't wait to try it on. She went to the tailor's shop, and when the dress was handed to her, she felt the soft fabric in her hands. It was more beautiful than she could have imagined. Shimmered under the light, and when she wore it, it hugged her body like it was made just for her. She rushed home and, with pride, showed her parents the dress. But Mama Ngozi, with a troubled look on her face, could only say, Chidinma, do you not see what you're doing? We have no money left. This is not what we are. But Chidinma's mind was already far beyond the village. That evening, she attended the village festival wearing the dress. She was the center of attention, and for the first time in her life, she felt complete. The stares, the whispers, the admiration, it all felt perfect. But it was fleeting. The tightness of the dress at first didn't bother her. But as the evening wore on, she felt discomfort in her chest. Her stomach churned with the heavy food she had eaten, but the dress squeezed at her ribs, making it hard to breathe. She ignored it, too focused on her own image to realize what was happening. The moment she tried to dance, Her body betrayed her. She felt a sharp pain shoot through her chest, and before she knew it, everything went black. Continued expansion. At the clinic, Chidinma awoke to find her parents standing by her side, their faces drawn with concern. Her father was silent, his eyes filled with worry, while her mother held her hand tightly. The doctor had explained that the tightness of the dress had caused her organs to become compressed, leading to difficulty breathing and a near collapse. The doctor's voice had been stern. This dress is beautiful, but it nearly cost you your life. No dress, no matter how beautiful, is worth this kind of price. Chidinma lay there, tears rolling down her cheeks. She had wanted to be admired, to be the one everyone looked at, but what had it cost her? More than money. Her life almost slipped away, all for something that, in the end, meant nothing. When she finally returned home, she had a new perspective on life. Her parents were overjoyed to have her safe, but they also began to speak honestly with her about moderation, about priorities. She knew the lesson wasn't just about clothes, it was about balance, love, and health. Chidinma's days of chasing admiration through material things were over. She began to wear her simplest clothes with pride, understanding that true beauty came not from a gown or a dress, but from within, from the way she treated herself, her family, and the community around her. Over time, Chidinma became a different person. People still admired her beauty, but they also saw her as someone who had learned the value of humility and balance. She was no longer just a village beauty, but the woman who had learned to live without the gilded cage of false perfection.